Welcome back to the channel, USA Coins 69, Treasure Hunters, Coin Collectors, and Curious Minds. Today, we're diving into another unassuming little coin that might just be the most valuable thing in your pocket without you even knowing it. That's right, we're talking about the 1985 Lincoln penny. A coin that many of us have seen, spent, or tossed into a coin jar, but what if I told you that one of these small copper-colored coins could be worth thousands? In this video, we're going deep into what makes the 1985 penny so fascinating, why collectors are hunting for it, how to tell if yours is special, and most importantly, how it could be worth a fortune. So grab that magnifying glass, stick around to the end, and let's explore the story behind this seemingly ordinary 1-cent coin. Let's set the stage. The year is 1985. Ronald Reagan is president, the Cold War is still simmering, and pop culture is exploding with icons like Michael Jackson and Madonna ruling the airwaves. But while all that was going on, something else was happening quietly at the U.S. Mint. Millions of Lincoln cents were being struck and sent into circulation. Most of them would go on to live forgettable lives, exchanged in coffee shops, vending machines, and piggy banks. But a few were different. A few were rare. The 1985 Lincoln penny continues the long-standing design tradition introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln. The obverse features the right-facing profile of Lincoln himself, with the words, "In God We Trust," arching above, "Liberty," to the left, and the date, 1985, on the right. Just beneath the year, you may spot a small mint mark, a tiny but crucial detail. A D for Denver, an S for San Francisco, or nothing at all if it was minted in Philadelphia. Flip it over, and you get the classic reverse design showing the Lincoln Memorial, which replaced the original wheat design in 1959. It's clean, iconic, and loaded with symbolism. But as with many coins, it's not the artwork that turns this penny into something special. It's the details, the imperfections, the materials, the minting mistakes, and the condition. Now let's break it down. The first thing that makes certain 1985 pennies worth a lot of money is condition. A coin that's been in circulation, picked up scratches, wear, and dings, is going to be worth face value or just a little more. But a coin that has been preserved in mint condition, what collectors call MS or mint state, can be extremely valuable. These coins show no signs of wear and often sparkle with their original luster. Most people never even notice they have one because it looks just like a normal penny, until you look closer. Then there's the second factor, mint marks and errors. Some 1985 pennies from the Denver Mint carry known minting errors that can increase their value tremendously. These errors can include double die obverse, where parts of the design, especially the letters and numbers, appear doubled due to a misalignment in the minting process. Another type of error? Off-center strikes, where the coin wasn't properly aligned during production, leading to an uneven image. There are also bubbled surfaces, die cracks, and repunched mint marks, all of which can turn an average coin into a collector's dream. Let's not forget planchet composition. While 1985 pennies were supposed to be made of zinc with a thin copper coating, if a leftover copper planchet from a previous era slipped into the press by mistake, that error could create an extremely rare and valuable transitional coin. That's why many collectors weigh their pennies, because a zinc penny weighs 2.5 grams, but a solid copper one weighs 3.11 grams. Just a fraction of a gram difference could mean a difference of thousands of dollars. Now imagine combining a perfect mint state 1985 penny with a rare minting error or wrong planchet material. That's when things get very exciting. The market for error coins is booming. As more collectors get into the hobby, demand continues to rise for rare pennies, especially those from the 1980s, which are modern enough to still be found in circulation but rare enough in perfect condition to be highly desirable. So, what should you be looking for in your 1985 pennies? First, examine the date and mint mark. Most were made in Philadelphia and Denver, but mint errors are more frequently reported from Denver. If the coin has strong, clear details and still shines, it could be uncirculated. Second, grab a precision scale. Weigh your penny. If it's heavier than 2.5 grams, you might be looking at something very unusual. Third, check for doubling. Look at Liberty, In God We Trust, and the numbers in the date. If they appear blurred or doubled, that's a major sign of a double die. Finally, consider getting your coin professionally graded. A coin that's certified by a grading service like PCGS or NGC with a high grade and confirmed error can be sold at auction or to collectors for serious money. Now here comes the part you've been waiting for. How much could a rare 1985 Lincoln penny with a mint mark really be worth? While most are worth 1 cent and maybe a few dollars in collectible condition, the rarest examples, those in pristine mint state, with rare errors or struck on the wrong planchet, have sold for astonishing amounts. In one case, a perfect condition 1985 penny with a unique minting error fetched a jaw-dropping sum of $33,000. Yes, you heard that right, $33,000. For a penny.so, don't overlook that small coin in your pocket. The next time you get change from the grocery store or dig through an old coin jar, take a second look. Because one of those little copper-colored coins could turn out to be the most valuable thing you own. Today's video might just make you think twice. We're about to dive into the fascinating story of the 1978 Lincoln penny, a coin that most people overlook, but that could be hiding a value far beyond 1 cent. That's right. This tiny coin, struck nearly 5 decades ago, could be the hidden gem of your coin collection or even sitting quietly in your change jar. But it's not just any 1978 penny that's valuable. Today, we're going to uncover what makes certain 1978 Lincoln cents so rare, so desirable, and, if you're lucky, so unbelievably profitable. So grab your old coin stash, get comfortable, and let's take a deep dive into one of the most intriguing pennies ever minted. The Lincoln cent has been a staple of U.S. currency since 1909, when it was introduced to commemorate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. It was the first American coin to feature a real person, and since then, it's become one of the most collected coins in the world. Fast forward to 1978, a year of disco music, Star Wars fever, and economic uncertainty. Amid all the cultural and political chaos, the U.S. Mint was quietly producing millions upon millions of pennies. In fact, over 5.5 billion Lincoln pennies were minted in 1978. But here's the thing, while most of these pennies are worth face value or just a little more, a select few are extremely rare, and worth a small fortune. Let's start with the basics. On the obverse, or front, of the 1978 penny, you'll see the familiar bust of Abraham Lincoln, facing right. Above his head is the national motto, "In God We Trust." To the left is the word Liberty, and to the right, the date, 1978. Right below the date, you may spot a small letter, that's the mint mark. A D means the coin was struck at the Denver Mint, and no mark means it came from Philadelphia. There were no San Francisco circulation pennies in 1978, though proof versions exist from that mint. On the reverse side of the coin, you'll see the Lincoln Memorial, surrounded by United States of America across the top and E pluribus unum, just above the memorial. At the bottom, 1 cent. Simple, clean, iconic, but now, let's get into what really makes certain 1978 pennies special. You see, most of these coins were mass-produced with little concern for perfection. But occasionally, something went wrong during the minting process, and those mistakes can turn a common coin into a rare collector's item. We're talking about mint errors, misalignments, double dies, off-center strikes, die breaks, repunched mint marks, and even rare transitional planchet errors. These tiny inconsistencies, often invisible to the untrained eye, can make a huge difference in value. For example, there are known double die obverse varieties from 1978, where the lettering, particularly in Liberty or the date, appears to have a slight doubling effect. Then there are off-center errors, where the design is struck outside the normal position, leaving part of the coin blank. And of course, some coins were mistakenly struck on the wrong metal blanks, known as planchets, which were left over from previous years or intended for foreign coins. Now let's talk about condition. Coin collectors use a scale from 1 to 70 to grade the condition of coins. Coins that are graded MS 65 or higher are considered mint state, meaning they are in near-perfect condition with no signs of wear. A regular 1978 penny might be worth a few cents, but a rare variety in pristine condition? That's when the value really skyrockets. So how can you tell if your 1978 penny is special? Here are a few quick tips. Examine the coin under a magnifier. Look at the letters and numbers carefully. Do you see any doubling, especially on the date or the word Liberty? That could indicate a double die error. Check the edges and strike. Is the design perfectly centered, or is part of it cut off or shifted to one side? That might be an off-center error. Weigh the coin. A normal 1978 penny should weigh around 3.11 grams, since it was still made mostly of copper. If your coin weighs significantly more or less, it might be a rare transitional error. Look at the mint mark. A repunched mint mark, where the D appears to be doubled or misaligned, can also increase the coin's value. And finally, consider getting your coin professionally graded by a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. If your coin is the real deal and in excellent condition, that certification can open the door to auctions and serious collectors willing to pay big money. Now, here's what makes this story so exciting. Every now and then, a seemingly ordinary 1978 penny shows up in perfect condition, with just the right kind of error or rarity. These are the unicorns of the coin world, highly sought after, extremely rare, and worth far more than anyone would expect. So just how much can one of these little copper coins be worth? Well, while most 1978 pennies won't make you rich, there are rare cases where a coin, especially one with a unique error, mint mark variation, and a flawless grade, has been sold to a passionate collector for an incredible $30,000. Yes, you heard that right, $30,000. For a single penny. And the most amazing part? These rare coins are still out there. In old collections. In boxes of forgotten change. In drawers, jars, and yes, even in your wallet right now. So the next time you're sorting through your coins or receive a handful of change, take a closer look. You might just be holding onto a piece of history, and maybe even a small fortune. Today, we're taking a closer look at one of the most common coins in American currency, but don't let its appearance fool you. The 1975 Lincoln penny, specifically the one with a mint mark, might just be the jackpot hiding in your coin jar. Yes, that little copper coin that most people ignore could be worth far more than you ever imagined. But as with all great discoveries, the secret is in the details. In this video, we're going to uncover the mystery behind the 1975 Lincoln cent, what to look for, why some of them are so valuable, and how to tell if you're holding on to a rare treasure. Stick around until the end. You won't believe how much this 1-cent piece could actually be worth. Let's rewind the clock to 1975. Gerald Ford was president, the Vietnam War was coming to a close, and the American economy was going through dramatic shifts. Gas prices were soaring, inflation was high, and the cost of producing coins was becoming a real concern for the U.S. Mint. In the middle of all this, the Mint continued striking billions of Lincoln pennies, more than $5 billion in total for that year alone. But not all of these pennies were created equal. The 1975 Lincoln penny followed the same classic design introduced in 1959. On the obverse, or front, you see the iconic profile of Abraham Lincoln, facing right. Above his head is the motto, "In God We Trust." To his left, the word "Liberty." And to the right, the date, 1975. Just below the date, if you see a tiny D, it means the coin was minted in Denver. If there's no mint mark, it came from Philadelphia. That tiny letter might seem insignificant, but trust me, it's one of the first clues that you might have something truly special. Flip the coin over and you'll find the reverse design featuring the Lincoln Memorial. It's simple, elegant, and symbolic. You'll also see the words "United States of America" at the top, "E Pluribus Unum" just above the memorial, and "1 cent" at the bottom. It's a design that millions of people have held in their hands over the decades, but few have ever looked closely enough, because that's the real secret here: details. While the vast majority of 1975 pennies are worth only face value, some rare variations and error coins can fetch a serious premium. And that's where this story gets really interesting. So what sets certain 1975 pennies apart from the rest? Let's start with mint errors. When coins are produced at such massive scales, even the slightest malfunction in the minting equipment can lead to unusual results. These might include double die errors, where parts of the design, like the date or the word Liberty, appear doubled. Or off-center strikes, where the design is shifted and part of the coin is blank. There are also die cracks, where the coin appears to have raised lines or splits due to fractures in the minting die. Then there are planchet errors, where the coin might be struck on the wrong type of metal. These are extremely rare, but when they happen, the resulting coin becomes one of a kind, and that's where collectors get excited. Now let's talk about condition. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. A coin that has been in circulation and shows wear is usually worth little more than a cent. But a coin that's been preserved in pristine condition, never touched by human hands, and has that original factory shine? That's a different story. Coins graded MS65 or higher, mint state 65, are highly valuable, especially when paired with a rare error or a unique strike. So what should you look for in your own collection? Start by checking the mint mark. A 1975 D penny with a bold, clean strike might be worth something, especially if you notice anything unusual. Use a magnifying glass to examine the lettering, numbers, and edges. Look for any signs of doubling, missing letters, or other abnormalities. Next, check the weight. A 1975 penny should weigh about 3.11 grams, since it was still made mostly of copper. If your coin weighs more or less than expected, that could be a clue that something went wrong during minting, and that kind of mistake could mean major value. And finally, if you think you have something special, consider sending it to a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. These experts can verify your coin's authenticity, condition, and potential rarity, and they'll give it an official grade that can greatly increase its value to collectors. Now here's where it gets really exciting. While most 1975 Lincoln pennies are worth just a cent or two, some rare examples, especially those with confirmed mint errors or in flawless condition, have sold for unbelievable amounts. We're talking auction prices that make your jaw drop. So, what's the most someone has paid for a 1975 Lincoln penny with a mint mark? Well, in one extraordinary case, a rare 1975 penny featuring a dramatic mint error, combined with near-perfect condition and expert grading, was sold to a private collector for an astonishing $39,000. Yes, you heard that right. $39,000. For a penny. It's incredible, but true. And it's proof that treasures don't always shine in gold or glitter in silver. Sometimes, they come disguised as a tiny copper coin you've seen 1,000 times before. Today's episode is going to change the way you look at your change forever. We're talking about the 1983 Lincoln penny, an innocent-looking little coin that just might be the hidden treasure in your collection, or even lying forgotten in a jar at home. So grab your magnifying glass and check your old coin rolls, because this video could help you uncover a fortune where you'd least expect it. Let's start by stepping back in time. The year was 1983. The internet hadn't taken over the world yet. Michael Jackson's Thriller was on every radio station, and compact discs were the newest thing in music. In the world of coin collecting, however, 1983 marked an important chapter in the history of the Lincoln penny, especially when it comes to materials, minting practices, and a few strange surprises. Now, if you're holding a 1983 penny right now, take a closer look. It's small, brownish red, and incredibly easy to overlook. But what many people don't know is that this particular year has a fascinating story that starts with a big change at the US Mint. Just a year earlier, in 1982, the Mint made one of the biggest composition changes in the history of the penny. Before that, Lincoln cents were made mostly of copper, 95% copper, to be exact. But due to rising copper prices, the Mint made the switch to a cheaper material, zinc, coated with a thin layer of copper. That new formula became the standard starting in 1983. But here's where things get interesting. Although 1983 pennies were all supposed to be made of the new copper-plated zinc, something unexpected happened. A few coins were accidentally struck on the old copper planchets from the pre-1982 batch. These weren't supposed to exist. But a small handful made it through quality control and into circulation, and today, those mistake coins are considered one of the holy grails of modern US coin collecting. Let's talk about how the 1983 penny looks. On the front, what collectors call the obverse, you'll find the right-facing profile of Abraham Lincoln. "In God We Trust" runs across the top, "Liberty" is on the left, and the year, 1983, is stamped on the right. If you see a small d beneath the date, it means your coin was minted in Denver. If there's no mint mark, it was minted in Philadelphia. Turn it over, and you'll see the classic Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. It's been the standard back design since 1959, and it's a beautiful tribute to one of America's most famous presidents. But the design itself isn't what makes the 1983 penny valuable, it's what you can't see with the naked eye. One of the biggest clues that you might be holding a rare 1983 penny is its weight. A copper-plated zinc penny weighs 2.5 grams, while a solid copper penny tips the scale at 3.11 grams. That's a small difference, but one that makes a massive impact on value. Collectors have found 1983 pennies with no mint mark that weigh in at 3.11 grams, meaning they were accidentally struck on old copper planchets. That kind of error is not only rare, it's highly valuable, but weight isn't the only thing that could make your 1983 penny worth far more than 1 cent. There's also a rare double die reverse variety. This means that during the minting process, the reverse side of the coin was struck twice slightly off alignment. The result? A clear doubling effect on the lettering, particularly in the phrases, 1 cent and United States of America. If you spot doubling on your 1983 penny, don't ignore it. That could be your golden ticket, and don't forget condition. Just like with any collectible, condition matters. A 1983 penny that's been circulating in pockets and purses for decades might be worn down, scratched, or even damaged. But a 1983 coin in mint state, that means it looks brand new and has never been used, can sell for exponentially more. Coins are professionally graded on a scale from 1 to 70. Anything MS-65 or higher is considered a gem-quality coin. Combine that level of perfection with a rare minting error or a copper planchet, and now you're in elite territory. So here's what you need to do if you think you've got a special 1983 penny: weigh the coin. If it's heavier than 2.5 grams, that's your first clue. Look for doubling on the reverse, especially the words, 1 cent and United States of America. Check for sharp details and shine. A coin in great condition is always worth more. Send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. These experts will confirm the error, grade the coin, and even encapsulate it to preserve its value. Rare 1983 Lincoln cents have been featured in coin magazines, sold at auctions, and traded between collectors for years. Every now and then, one pops up that stuns the collecting world, not because it's flashy, but because it shouldn't exist. Those are the coins that go down in history. So, just how much could one of these tiny treasures be worth? Well, while the average 1983 penny won't pay for more than a piece of gum, a rare version with a copper planchet or double die reverse, in immaculate condition, was once sold to a private collector for a staggering $29,000. Yes, you heard that right. $29,000 for a coin that most people wouldn't even bother to pick up off the ground. This is why collectors are obsessed with details. It's why metal detectors are buzzing and coin rolls are being searched every day. Because there's always a chance that a small, forgotten coin could turn out to be something truly life-changing. Today, we're diving deep into a piece of American history that might be hiding in your pocket or piggy bank, the 1981 Lincoln penny with a mint mark. You may think a penny is just a penny, but this particular coin holds stories, secrets, and yes, serious value. So buckle up, because by the end of this video, you might discover that your humble 1981 penny could be worth more than you ever imagined. Let's rewind to the early 1980s. America was riding the waves of change. Ronald Reagan had just become president, the economy was fluctuating, and everyday people were holding on to coins that seemed ordinary but had a story to tell. The Lincoln penny, a classic piece of American currency, was already a familiar sight, its design unchanged for decades. Yet, the year 1981 brought subtle differences that make some of these pennies particularly sought after by collectors. The 1981 penny features the timeless profile of Abraham Lincoln on the front. Designed by Victor David Brenner, this image has graced American pennies since 1909, marking the centennial of Lincoln's birth. On the obverse, you'll also find the motto, "In God We Trust," the word "Liberty," and the date, 1981. If you notice a small letter beneath the date, that's the mint mark, indicating where the coin was struck. The most common marks are D for Denver and no mark for Philadelphia. On the reverse, you'll see the Lincoln Memorial, a symbol honoring the 16th president and an icon of American heritage. For decades, this design has been a staple, connecting generations through its consistent imagery. But what makes the 1981 Lincoln penny with a mint mark stand out in the vast sea of coins? The answer lies in rarity, condition, and sometimes, the unexpected imperfections known as mint errors. In 1981, the United States Mint produced billions of pennies, making them abundant and seemingly ordinary. However, within these millions, a few rare examples have emerged that catch the eye of numismatists and investors alike. One of the key factors collectors look for is the coin's condition. Coins that have been carefully preserved, showing no signs of wear, scratches, or discoloration, known as mint state coins, are far more valuable than their circulated counterparts. Additionally, certain errors during the minting process have created pennies that are unique. These might include doubling of the date or letters, off-center strikes where the design is shifted, or even anomalies in the metal composition. Such errors drastically increase a coin's rarity and desirability. Another fascinating aspect of the 1981 Lincoln penny is the wide AM variety. This refers to the spacing between the letters A and M in America on the reverse side. Some coins have a noticeably wider gap, and this subtle difference can add to the coin's value for collectors hunting for varieties. If you think your 1981 penny is just average, it's worth taking a closer look. Use a magnifying glass to inspect for any doubling on the date or letters, check the mint mark carefully, and assess the coin's overall condition. Sometimes, the smallest details can mean the difference between a coin worth a penny and one worth thousands. When it comes to pricing, most 1981 pennies in circulated condition are worth face value or just a little more to collectors. However, rare error coins and those preserved in flawless condition have been known to fetch surprising sums at auctions and private sales. So, how much could a rare 1981 Lincoln penny with mint mark really be worth? Here's the exciting part: a perfect specimen, especially one with a unique mint error or in pristine mint state condition, has been known to sell for an astounding $37,000. Yes, $37,000 for a single penny. This just goes to show that even the most familiar objects can hold extraordinary value when you know what to look for. The world of coin collecting is full of hidden treasures, and sometimes, those treasures are right under our noses, or in our pockets. If this video has opened your eyes to the possibilities hidden in everyday coins, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a chance to discover another numismatic gem. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy hunting.